We are recording with Mieko Hester-Perez. Welcome to the show. I couldn't be happier to have you.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Yes, I think our viewers are going to love to hear everything that you have to say. To get started, Mieko, I would love to hear from you a little bit about your background. You're involved in a range of organizations, some in cannabis, some not. You've done so much in your life. Can you tell us a little bit about you and how you got to cannabis?
So, I don't even know where to begin. Wow, probably should start with saying, I entered this space in 2009. I was a legal secretary at the time. My son ended up being my biggest case. He was diagnosed with autism in 18 months. By the time he was 9 years old, he was 42 pounds. And that was not okay with me. And I was not a consumer. I come from a very law enforcement religious family. So I was raised conservatively, very conservative, actually. My my attorney reminds me all the time. Um, Here in Orange County, California, and I did some research and uncovered a white paper that was written by Dr. Bernard Rimland, who is the founder of the Autism Society of America. And what I mean, it'd be. I had no idea that I had uncovered the Holy Grail. It was kind of like, the Da Vinci Code moment for me.
Mm-hmm.
I remember leaving home from my son's appointment to get him cleared for dental surgery, and the physician was going to clear him, and I said, something doesn't seem right. And so I remember driving home thinking, I know I couldn't be the only parent in the world, even in 2009, who thought about cannabis as a viable treatment. And so that one paper was the beginning of me being in this space for over 11 years, just on consumer safety and protection, starting with the most difficult kiddos first, and that is nonverbal children on the spectrum. And so from there, I navigated all over the world, whether it was Israel, back in Puerto Rico. I had become an autism whisperer. And I spoke the same language as most of the parents who contacted me, and and that's really what other parents needed. Was we wanted to be able to use cannabis as a safe and effective treatment option, but we also needed to have peers from our own community be the ones we get the information from. And so in 2011, Joey was diagnosed with Duchenne muscular dystrophy. So I definitely thought that I had the golden child. Duchenne muscular dystrophy, he was with the condition child number 603 in California.
Wow.
And having him on the spectrum, nonverbal, and cannabis was actually able to prolong his life. He passed away in 2018, 19 years old. And I tell you, that kid did more in 19 years than most people do in a lifetime. And I was very grateful to have been his mother. But what I didn't realize was the next day I had a full schedule for the next 5 years. Wow. I had entered palliative care, and I had taken everything that my son had taught me and started working with terminally ill medical directors who trusted my judgment. I've never been a consumer. I was told by a doctor in Colorado Springs, Dr. Robert Melamy, that I was endocannabinoid sufficient. So it's one of the reasons. I know I question that all the time. I wake up and go, really, Jesus, this is what I'm here for? But I get it now, and I embrace it. So, and because of that, cannabis and autism have given me the world, literally the world, whether I'm in Spain, Puerto Rico, Israel, California, Wisconsin, New York. There's a mother like me and a child like Joey, and everywhere that I go. And so um, when I talk to cancer physicians and I provide my input, um, it's not only an input of consumer safety and protection, but it's an input of I lived all of it. I lived all of it, and I want to do what's in the best interest of the patient.
Mhm.
I still continue to own my attorney service that I've had since 2007.
It's incredible.
And it is, and I have a wonderful business partner. It's I when Joey was diagnosed with autism, I knew for both of my children I needed to go to every appointment,
Mhm.
every meeting. I didn't want to miss anything, and so I had to choose between law school and taking care of my son.
Mhm.
And every day I wake up and how did I get here? Because all the training I needed prior to making that decision is how I continue to protect consumers all over the world. So,
It's
and
it's
it's been,
awesome to be, it feels that way when you speak
yeah,
about it, that your background perhaps in law and maybe more conservative in a way, and I'm not trying to put words in your mouth, but like created a framework and a perception and an angle that many other people might not have in your position.
I every day I look back and I can tell you why I'm sitting in this chair.
It's incredible.
Um, there are no accidents. I still continue, as crazy as my bio is. Having a child diagnosed with autism, there's nothing you can throw at us that we can't catch. So
Mm.
I could probably run like 10 countries in my bedroom, in my slippers, 2 cups of coffee, and avocado toast, and everything. So because of that, I'm able to in the morning, I'll wake up with a consult in Puerto Rico.
Mm.
And I'll wake up with a consult in Wisconsin, or I'll call a dispensary, and I work really closely with several dispensaries all over the world, because my job is having the medical directors become our cheerleaders. I
Mm.
could not be the person I am today without a medical team. And
Mhm.
so I try to implement that same mindset to every single family that
Mhm.
contacts me. And I always tell dispensaries, I answer to medical directors. I
Right.
don't answer to anyone else in this industry, because without them, Joey wouldn't have had such a successful ride with this treatment option. I mean, finding a product is a piece of cake. It's the navigation
Mm.
that most consumers need. And so I really, really enjoy what I do. And I think I'm finally kind of like, this is my job. And, this is what I do. And it's a different feeling when you save a life, because once you save one, it becomes contagious. And so um, that's me, and
Incredible.
bringing the right people to the table and being that bridge is an honorable job. And I have taken on the responsibility, and I don't think that I'll ever think that it's a given.
Mm.
Um, it's every day, I'm tempted with something. Some company will call me up, and I say, look, if I can authentically represent this, or this is not in the best interest, then it may not be for this particular demographic. But I do have a demographic that it would work. I love working with people, and I love working in this industry,
Mm.
and I love talking to medical professionals who say, "Oh my God, that's right." The biggest, I mean, my support comes from learning. My support comes from having them meet me in the middle and say, "Well, if I don't
Mm.
know this today, then let's figure out how to do this." And I I'm a nerd. So
I know that. I love it.
yeah, and so when even if I have celebrities who come, and I tell everyone I'm the buzzkill because I love a challenge. I'll go, no, that's not going to work, but I can tell you it can. And so, and that's how I love uncovering.
And not forcing, but helping people see kind of
Yeah,
another way. You've
yeah,
kind of said this, but I wanted to ask you. You are so uniquely positioned within the cannabis space with your background with Joey and his legacy, and you have roots in Puerto Rico, and your
yeah.
political views are ones that people wouldn't think. Oh, that's a woman who works in cannabis. And you're also a woman of color. So how are you received by the cannabis community? And what challenges do you sometimes encounter off the bat that you overcome? Because I personally think any challenge you overcome ends up being something to your advantage. Can you talk a little bit about how you're received?
I, I'm I'm just me, and sometimes it's just that simple. We complicate things with color. We complicate things with ages. We complicate things with, and sometimes statistics um, aren't coming from the right place. I,
Mm-hmm.
I entered this space because it didn't matter what it was. I was human. And as a mom, humanly, I wanted to keep my son here.
Mm-hmm.
So when I do go out and when I speak, I have that common chord with other people. And when I walk into a room, you automatically know where I stand.
Mm-hmm. Humanity.
Not to mention, High Times wrote this article that said I was a global healthcare, one of the most conservative healthcare advocates in the world, which I don't mind having that title if it means I can help more people. Um, I am probably far more conservative than a lot of folks, but I enjoy. I know why I'm here.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and this is my place. And so when it comes to being perceived, it's all over the place. I think I'm oozing as soon as I walk through the room. Um, I'm I do a lot inside courts. So as one of my titles allows me to intervene in child protective service cases, and not a lot of people know about that. And so as a non-consumer, you
Mm-hmm.
will not find me in many places.
Mm-hmm.
My job is to vet out families and help social workers make informed decisions about families who have chosen this treatment option.
Mm-hmm.
Is this something out of the norm for me? No.
Mm-hmm.
So when I don't really party. I don't really do any of those things. A lot of people don't realize when you have a child diagnosed with autism,
Yes.
you literally, at least for me and all the other families I speak with, we separate ourselves for years and years and years to
Mm.
take care of our children. Maybe that's why coronavirus isn't hitting me as hard as it's hitting everyone else.
You're used to dealing
I,
with those
yeah,
challenges every day. It's
yeah.
part of your life.
And there were years and years where I didn't talk to friends. There were years when I didn't talk to people. There was years I had to learn how to create my own sanctuary because I was unable to even go to church. So
Wow.
when you come into my house, you'll see things, you'll see a lot of people come in and go, well, Jesus, what religion are you? And I said, all of them, because that's how I survived.
That's incredible. And
So
how
how a little less on how people perceive me. I just want to do the best job that I can do.
do you feel like you're living Joey's legacy every day in a way, honoring your son?
I am honoring him and I'm honoring the job he left to me. And so the day that I forget and I want to fill someone's pockets for the wrong reason, I will lose it. And that's what I carry on over my head is the minute I decide to use this for something else, it's
Mhm.
gone.
I think that's a very admirable thing, and I don't think I think in this world, there's so much chaos and static and input that it can be very easy to kind of forget who you are and what you're rooted to. That is an incredibly powerful thing. And the humanity aspect that you talk about, that's something that means a lot to me, is that we're all human and we're all trying to make it in this world. So I find that incredible. And to change the topic just a little bit, you're so rooted and you know who you are. Can you talk about, you do a lot of work in courts, but can you talk about some of the other organizations you work with? Because when we first chatted on the phone, I was like, what does she not do? What organization is she not in? Can you let us know a little bit about some of those? I don't want to just list them off. I'd love for you to tell us about Normal or NORML, all of them, if you could.
So right now I'm a healthcare ambassador for CannaSafe, and that is the first, hold on.
All good.
Okay. Okay, so right now I am a healthcare ambassador for CannaSafe, one of the first cannabis analytics labs in the world. And I can't even tell you how authentic that position was. It was like I woke up one day and I said, oh my God, I need you guys. I need the analytics. And so I'm a healthcare ambassador. So I don't need to change anything that I'm doing, except I'm walking more and more healthcare professionals through an cannabis analytics lab, which is really awesome. And then I seem cool. So I sit on the Normal Women's Alliance, which is the National Organization for Reform for Marijuana Laws. Their Women Alliance, and that title allows me to intervene in child protective service cases, as well as write letter and help social workers vetting out families, which is really, really important to me. Also writing letters and in support of families who have chosen this treatment option. And my favorite, I sit on the board of Chalk and Social. I should be wearing a hat, but I'm not.
That's okay.
But I will. Chalk and Social is a company that was formed. So the idea of this hat is it's a hat and it has a chalkboard on the hat. And so, of course, me and my girlfriends were using it for other things, like I need a beer. How about a glass of wine? Here's my phone number, et cetera, et cetera. But really, it was used to help children on the spectrum who are nonverbal or were very reluctant to speak to everyone else around them. For instance, for Joey, I would give him a hat and put, not having a good day. So when we went to his doctor's appointments, they would go, he's not having a good day. So I sit on the board specifically to speak the language to families and even terminal ill patients at this point, to be able to give them a voice. The medical professionals in terminal and palliative care, it's somber when you walk in there. But when you have doctors who have, putting signs on a chalkboard, it creates and it promotes healthy conversations. And that's really what I'm about, is healthy conversations.
Healthy conversations.
Yeah. I
just wanted to say, it's like we forget that's such a simple thing when you say it, but it's so lost in this world.
It is lost.
It's incredible.
As humans, by default, we make everything complicated. But for families that have special needs children, that simplicity says it all for us sometimes. And because we don't want everything, we just want, most of the time, we just want to sit down on the couch for 20 minutes or 15 minutes. And so, and maybe that's where my gratitude comes from, and where I try to make the process as simple as possible, but ironclad. I sit on the society. Well, I'm an honorary member of the Puerto Rican Society of Cannabis Science and Medicine. When I go back to Puerto Rico, I do work with medical professionals in my family and abroad. And soon as I step my foot on the island, when I get there, I'm walking into neighborhoods. And maybe also this is where the simplicity comes from as well, is because we're here in the States. We have a lot of resources. We have it all.
We do.
When you get to Puerto Rico and you step on the island and you realize the resources they don't have, the organizations they don't have, the guidance they don't have, and how well received you are walking into their home, it really brings a whole new perspective to doing what I'm supposed to be doing.
We were just talking before we started recording about, I have a connection to the Virgin Islands, but the territories, I don't think people in the States always remember. This is the United States.
Yeah.
These are people that we often overlook by nature of a news cycle, or because politically they don't have certain rights that people in the upper 48 do. But that's incredible. How often do you get back?
So for the last probably 8 or 9 years, I'm there. I was there twice a month. Since I literally got back here on March 17th, like 2 days before everything shut down, I got back to California. I haven't been back since. Hasn't stopped. I'm still doing Zoom consults. I'm still doing, because our lives haven't stopped. And actually, they've gotten a lot more difficult.
I wonder if we're on the same flight, by the way. I flew through Puerto Rico on the 17th of March from my sister's wedding.
Oh my God, we missed each other in the airport.
Right? We were probably there in San Juan, just zipping out.
Yeah, zipping out, yeah.
That was crazy. That was like, what's happening? Gotta get out. But
I was gonna say that was when Maria. I did the same thing. I left 4 hours before the hurricane.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Your life is never dull.
No, it's never dull, but I think the reason why one of the reasons why I'm still relevant today is because of the gratitude that I tend not to forget. I could be doing something else that I could not be getting any satisfaction out of. This, for me, is paying it forward, and that's all I've. I know when we first talked, I did tell you that Eunice Kennedy is like my top 3 of women that I have such a fondness for, but the mission in her heart is one of the reasons why I am the way that I am. No one could ever stop me from doing this, because it's just a part of why I'm here. And so another board that I sit on is the California Aquatic Therapy and Wellness.
Okay.
And so when Joey, before he got his feeding tube, he enjoyed being in the water. And so there was a warm water therapy facility, and we fell in love with it. And one of the reasons why is because here and probably elsewhere, aquatic therapy is a gift. Aquatic therapy is very, very expensive. And so this particular facility, they had really embraced the community and special needs children. And when they asked me to join the board, I just immediately said yes, because this is a part of me providing resources to other families and veterans and senior citizens. And I always tell people, one of the reasons why I went public in 2009 is because I didn't want to be the only one who had a smile on my face. I didn't want to be the only one. So I have this thing, when I find something that's golden, I tell everyone, because we've gotten used to keeping it to ourselves. But when you open it up, the blessings are priceless. And so that was one of the places that I thought was a gem in California that we do not give enough accolades to, because they really are serving the community. And that's my community service for me, and I enjoy it.
That's incredible.
So, yeah.
So many different positions. Are those all of them, or you got more hanging out?
I'm pretty sure I got one or two, but I can't really remember right now.
So good. I wanted to change gears just a little. So you are obviously have this incredible story about helping your son with cannabis, all of these organizations, the legal background, but you let me in on a little secret that you are
I
a woman
did.
of many interests, and you are quite the hip hop enthusiast.
Oh, wow.
Can you
Yeah.
talk a little bit about that? Has that been because of cannabis? Have you always been? Because there's a little bit of an intersection at times, or are you just a hip hop lover?
So this has been a secret. So
Not
it's
anymore.
come out now. But so I'm very much so a hip hop head. I'm, lyricist. I'm a lyricist person. So um
Mhm.
I think it's really interesting now. I call myself the urban myth, because only, people, I'll get emails and say, well, someone sent this to you, or someone's trying to find you.
Yeah.
And I got an interesting call one day, and what I said, who's calling me? And I was like, okay, this is awesome. When you have hip hop legends who are contacting you and saying, I just want to have a conversation with you, or I want to speak with you. But yeah, whether it's DJ Premier, whether it's, AZ, Nas, the original gun clappers, Smith and Wesson, like I'm knee deep in it. And I think that's, I'm starting to kind of bring it into the cannabis space. That's probably the only cool thing I've ever done in like 11 years is now I'm starting to talk to artists who want to enter this space. And out of respect of them, not only as a fan, but as we do need your input. I need your input. The industry needs your input because it's very valuable. You happen to be the new consumer base that is entering this space, and so I've been very, very, very lucky in that sense. And I think that's kind of one of the reasons why I'm here is to kind of. I think now with the bluntness, I can be cool. Like all of a sudden, all of a
You were cool before, but I thank
sudden,
you.
and it's really interesting because I have because I work with cultivators, for DNA genetics and Kyle Cushman and the Buds and Roses guys
Yep.
out of LA. And so usually when I'm going somewhere, people are like, well, can you introduce me into Kyle Cushman? And I'm like, I cannot believe that I have, I'm so cool. And because I think of them as my son's undocumented uncles. So
I love that.
and I'm like, can you guys just give me your real names? But when I can now the intersect with the hip hop and these master cultivators, and I think finally in 2020, as crazy as it sounds, this is a really good time to be cool again, or to ever be cool if I wasn't. um,
Whole new world. We're all figuring it out. Maybe it's all coming
yeah,
together for you in a weird way. That's
yeah, it is.
funny when you were saying about gratitude and stuff. I've been thinking a lot about personally the good things that have happened this year and how collectively we can forget about the good things amidst chaos.
Yeah.
So you feels like you might be a very good reminder or teacher or representative of finding the amazing in the things that happen. Like they don't just happen, they happen for a reason. And when we pull them all together, all the beautiful things that can happen in the midst of what feels like a struggle.
Yeah, you have to simplify them.
Mm-hmm.
I have parents who contact me and they go have a list full of da 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 da, and I said, well, did your son get up and walk to the bathroom this morning?
Right.
Yeah, because my son didn't.
Mm-hmm.
And so you really have to bring it into perspective, so you can't lose sight of the rest of the world.
Right.
So and I have to catch myself too as well. I I'm still when I leave my house every day, I'm wondering, what nurse is going to cover while I leave.
Mm-hmm.
And so I've had to recreate, not having that anxiety. It's like I'm happy and sad, but I'm adjusting. But some days I just have to bring it all the way back in and say, I sacrificed 19 years, and I don't feel like it was a sacrifice. I felt like it was school. I felt like and now, I do always tell people, especially families, when they call and they would say, well, how come you don't charge? I talked to you for 3 hours. And I would tell them, every family I help would keep Joey here a little bit longer. Now it's every family I help helps me heal.
It's incredible.
So,
and a lot of people, sorry, I am amazed at how you articulate your journey and can see it like in both sides, the hard and the gifts. And I believe that's what makes you someone who's perfect in the cannabis space, because those of us who professionally work in it know there are so many different people that you encounter.
yeah.
So you're just the way you keep it in such grounded perspective, I think makes you perfect to like make things happen. A lot of people would say that the cannabis industry is like a struggle. It's never going to get legalized, this or that. Given everything you have, your acutely personal background, where do you think cannabis is going? Where do you want it to go? I know you have the survey happening. What is your dream for cannabis, and where do you think it's going, and where do you want it to go?
So I think with every mission, there's a process. So because of that process, we're actually able to create the narrative. We're actually able to find our peace in that journey. And so I love a lot of the new legislation that's popping up. Whether it's good or bad, it's progressive.
Okay, that's interesting.
Because especially in the legal industry, without process, you go nowhere. So, I do look at every bill and legislation that goes through. Each statute has its own mission. And you have to start here to get to there. As much as I would love to address state laws, well, we got to address the federal law first. Once we address the federal law, then we can move accordingly. In most states, we have a criteria for children on the spectrum, but we provide no navigation, and or lack of navigation, and we have a lot of federal funding in our home. Am I upset? No, because I understand it's a process, and sometimes you have to move this priority up to get to where we need to go. And right now, autism is 1 out of 17 homes in America. So if every family and every autism family decided that they wanted to choose cannabis, we would have all of this figured out. But we're still trying to navigate together. And so I respect the process for the progress. So,
what is your ultimate goal? Where do you want cannabis to be? Like, what is your dream? We've arrived at what you've been working for.
I think we're really close, and that is having medical professionals intervene and come in and protect the industry, not just the patient, but protect the business, because really they're the missing piece. They're the backlash. And if we can have medical professionals on board to support us in that manner, we have it all. What we already have a thriving business. I know that there's certain CBD laws, and as long as the laws are talking, I'm okay. Because while they're talking, we are creating cheerleaders. And those cheerleaders are some of the highest and most reputable, credible medical directors all over the world to come in and say, I'm going to honor my oath to become a medical doctor. It only takes a reminder for them to kind of go, oh, you're right. So whether it's all data we need, or whether it's all this, or my son, my mother, or it's a process. But I do see the progress, and I do, and I don't know if it's ever going to be finished. Right. That plant, it's going to probably take us another 100 years to find all of the real benefits from the cannabis plant. And it's going to take all kinds. It's going to take rappers. It's going to take reality star folks. It's going to take the labs, the science labs. It's going to take the legal secretary, and so it's a process. And if we just trust the process, then I think we will all continue to have our jobs.
Wow. Where will we see you in 5 years?
I hope back home. I do. I mean, a lot of people don't realize I am almost 50. And yeah. So I attribute this to CBD moisturizer.
Right.
No, but serious. And so my job is to go back home and do what I'm supposed to do as a part of my son's legacy, and just to give back as much as possible. Right now, it's I never thought that I would ever be able to do anything in life other than take care of my son. And I mean, I wake up every day, and every day I'm in control of my schedule. For 19 years, my son was in control of every moment of my life. And so it is very foreign. So I have to be very cautious what I spend time doing.
Oh, that's so interesting. He left you with quite the mission.
Yeah, and yeah, he did. He left me with the mission, and he taught me how to do everything. He taught me how to, and some days I wake up and I feel slammed, and I go, wait a minute. I used to do IEP meetings, 10 doctor's appointments, behavioral therapists, schedule nurses, go out of the country, come back, and I'm having a hard day trying to fit in 3 patients. Are you kidding, Mieko? Are you kidding? So, yeah, 5 years. I'm back to Puerto Rico for good. For good.
Where can our viewers keep up with you?
I think no, I'm just kidding. Almost everywhere.
Everywhere. This organization.
Yeah. Right now, I'm the healthcare ambassador for CannaSafe, so you can always call there and contact me there. I have my own blog, which is Miekos blog, which is specifically for families and other professionals. I try to keep it up to date, but these last couple of weeks have been going so fast. I have not been able to to put where am I today, wow. You can find me through the Bluntness. Just call Aubrey.
Perfect.
Yeah, knows exactly where I am. She has my bat line.
I put the bat signal up. But this is definitely not the last we'll be hearing from you, Mieko. Thank you for sharing your story. Well, I cannot wait for our viewers to hear more from you. You're incredible. I'm sure you've heard that before, but it is so refreshing to hear someone so grounded and confident in who they are, and it's a beautiful thing. Thank you for fighting the good fight.
Thank you for having me. Thank you.
Absolutely. And hang on after we end the broadcast so we can properly close out one-on-one. But thank you. We will
You're
hear.
welcome. Thank you.
Okay.